Alright, welcome to the video. Here's my tips on how to get yourself started at doing this awesome hobby that's been around years. I've been doing this now since I was younger. Like, started out as with the OHL, meeting some of the players from the Guelph Storm, visiting players who played back when I was a kid, and then I kind of started doing like this hobby since high school ish, where I sent one card out to a player, and I had that one back, and I went to signings with my dad, and met like Wendell Clark and some of the Maple Leafs and stuff. But actually taking out TTM through the mail. TTM means through the mail. I started about 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and it's been hit and miss. You know, sometimes you get returns back, sometimes you don't. It's never a guarantee like the player or the former player is going to sign your card. And without further ado, I'm going to show you right now some of the returns that I have got, and then I'll show you guys some of the ones that I'll tell you about some of the ones that I haven't got. So my very first one, sorry, these are in the sleeves too. So the very first one I ever sent is this one here. This is Brett Lindros. So for those who aren't familiar, Eric Lindros is right here. That's Eric Lindros' younger brother. He had a short career. Unfortunately, I believe concussions and some other injuries might have limited his career. But he also had an successful, I can't pronounce that word today, successful TV show called, I think it was called like Be a Player, or the hockey show, which used to be on TV when I was a kid. He was the host of it. He'd go talk to the guys and the arenas and stuff. So, very first one I ever sent, Eric Lindros. Second one, brothers, Eric Lindros. The third one, which is down here, you might remember him or recognize him from the 93 Stanley Cup battle, LA and Montreal, Kelly Hrudey. So we got Kelly Hrudey, Corey Hirsch, Jody Hall, Phil Coyote, and then referee, sorry the glare, Andy Van Helmond. And then I got some superstar and Hall of Famers on the back. Those ones I'll show you guys in a little bit. And then I've got some more as well. So literally what you need to do to get started with this is you need to join, there's a whole bunch of groups out there, sites out there that gives you databases on how to get these autographs, or the addresses to get these autographs to players. Obviously you could send to teams if they're still current players, but if they're older players, you have to find the way, you have to do the research. So I am a member of one group, and that group is sportscollectors.net. I just signed up for this one. I was on another one, and that one I had to pay money for. I haven't paid for any of this one yet, but I'm on this one now. This one's working for me, and I'm going to turn around and I'm going to show you guys the camera. I'll turn the camera on, and you guys can see what it looks like. All right, give me 1 second. All right, so this is sportscollectors.net. So in this site, you can search for autographs or addresses, for players, past, present, and as well as maybe future players. And this is for all sports. So you've got forums, baseball, basketball, football, hockey, and then other sports. And then when you first sign on to the page, after you created an account as with the username and a password, and then if you want to pay for the monthly subscription, this one's $14.99 for the whole year. And this gives you some of the successes of some of the players who have had returns successfully sent out to people. So there's a whole bunch of people in here. So obviously I won't be showing any of the addresses for some of these guys. But yeah, what you do is you put your player's name in. Search the player. So let's go. You put your player's name in the search bar. The search comes up. Let's go Guy Lafleur. So it comes up here. He's had 17 days for waiting. Received. How long ago it's been received? This was back. This is updated from until the 15th. The address, how many items were sent, and then comments from other members of this group. So you put your address in. You find out if it's a decent. You'll take a look at some of the addresses. Some of the addresses might be outdated. That was the one thing about the. I'm going to turn around and talk to you guys. So that's what the site kind of looks like. It's pretty straightforward. So you go sportscollectors.net, Google that, it pulls you up. You make an account. If you want to pay for it, you get premium packages for $14.99 for the year. That gives you a little bit more of a selection of addresses. I just haven't done that on this yet. So what you do is you put your player's name in. The name comes up. You look at the success rate. Some addresses might be outdated, so they're not going to have a good rate. So you don't want to send your card or whatever you're sending to that player to an outdated address. So you get your address, then you get your envelope or whatever you're packing. If you're doing cards are pretty simple because if you have a lot of cards from certain players, you don't want to send like an expensive item like a jersey. You can send pucks. If some people send pucks and stuff, but you don't really want to send a lot like expensive items. Like you're paying shipping, and you got to make sure you pay the shipping back because the player's not going to pay for the shipping. So if it's something really expensive, you need to make it easy for that player to sign it. If he's going to even sign it, sometimes they don't, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But yeah, you get your address. So you've got your cards, your address, you write the address down, you make your envelope, you write your letter, or like a letter saying some tips of like why you're writing to this person. A lot of players like to read letters. They like to read the letters. Some of them don't, and some of them do. You'll find with the guys, the alumni guys who played a long time, they like to read the letters. They like a letter saying, hey, I was a fan of yours from when you played back in the day. You were awesome on TV as a commentator. Would you mind signing this card for my collection? Or something, right? So, other collectors or hobbyists like myself, they make the letters a little bit interesting. They add questions, and sometimes the players will write back in those questions, or answer the questions that you have. So you got everything all ready now. So what you need to do is you need to make sure you get the proper postage. So if the player in Canada, if you're doing this in the US, it might be a little bit different. I'm not 100% sure what the US thing is. But in Canada, you need to make sure you have proper stamps. So I already have 2 missing from this. So you get a book of stamps. These come in 10s, and you can get different amounts. And you get your letter, write it. If you're doing cards are pretty simple to start off. But if you want to get into more different stuff, then you need to get your packing and make sure you pack it properly. But yeah, you get your card, your letter. Make the card in one of the cases so it doesn't get bent. Because you know how sometimes post office mail carriers stuff gets bent. And I've had a couple cards come back, and the card has been just manhandled. So I forgot to put it in a sleeve or in a holder. So yeah, you get your letter, write it out, answer your questions. You've got the address, so you write that back on the front. Now what you want to do as well is you want to include a self-addressed stamped envelope. This is the most important part, because the player is not going to return it if it's not there. They'll keep it. It's happened before with other people, and if you don't include your address, they won't send it because they're not going to know who to send it to. So you always make sure you have the return envelope with the postage already on it. So all the player has to do is sign it and put it in the mail. It's easy peasy. So you get your envelopes, you make sure you get them, and you put them in your package, and you head to your post office. You mail it to your post through the post, and then you wait. Some days you wait a couple weeks. Some days you wait months. Some days you wait a year, and you think your stuff has been missing, just like I did for Mr. Felix the Cat Potvin. So I got these two. So I mailed them this one, and then this one, and this one. So I mailed them 4 cards. I found an address that had a good return rate, but he was managing. I believe he was like a manager or running a team in like Quebec, and he was busy. He had a lot going on that year, so he was late getting return stuff. And I thought for sure it was lost in the mail. And lo and behold, I checked the mail one day, and bam. But it's good to do the research. So when you're on the groups, like on the group here or on the site, it tells you return rate. Another tool for doing this is if you're on Facebook. Get in on Facebook. If you're looking for doing just one sport, it's good to stick with one. There's many groups out there for different sports. Like one will have football, one will have basketball, one will have hockey, and etc. There's so many groups out there. You gotta obviously do your research, find the group, get in a group. I'm in a couple. I think I'm in 2 groups. One's just hockey, and then there's another one. I think it's hockey and baseball or whatever. There's a couple sports, and then autograph hobbyist or something. I think that's what it is. So you get on your Facebook, you log into some of these groups, and a lot of the people who are in these groups share their returns. And they'll put in, when they put their return, they say how long it's been since. You'll see, like, there'll be comments, how long was the return? Some of the guys in there are, some of the people, not all men, it's kids, children, kids, wives, husbands. Everybody does this, and that's what's cool about it. And yeah, people will post their returns saying, hey, sent to, for example, Guy Lafleur. Sent Guy Lafleur 3 of 3, return in about a month or 3 weeks or whatever. So that gives you an idea. It's, hey, Guy Lafleur signing, he's got a quick return rate. I'm going to get some Guy Lafleur cards, and I'm going to send to Guy Lafleur. And that is what I did in this one. People were sending him like 4 or 5 cards. I only could find one in my collection that I had, and it's a Quebec Nordiques card. So obviously it was near the end of his career, and you can see he signed it in blue Sharpie. Cool thing is when he signed it, he returned it in a bigger envelope. My envelope was inside, but he also included an extra card. Some of these guys have extra cards that they want to just pass out. So Guy Lafleur signed mine, this one, and then he signed my other one. So another one from his stack. I'm now going to show you guys some of the ones that I've accumulated that have like really importance to me. Living in Canada, living in Ontario, growing up, believe it or not, I was a Toronto Maple Leaf fan. My dad was a Leaf fan. My grandparents were Leaf fans. I grew up with Toronto, and meeting and talking with some of the guys like Wendell Clark, Doug Gilmour, and Dave Anderchuk. You get to, and you go into tours and stuff. You see some of these guys, Ty Domi, Matt Sundin. You get to meet some of the alumni. I didn't get to meet any of these guys, but you know, you word of mouth. You write a letter to one guy. Sometimes they'll share an address with another. Like, So the one I'm going to show you guys right now is super important to me. And the card isn't that great. It was kind of, I think I got this from my grandpa. Well, the card it's a really important. I got this from my grandpa. And this was a card that was attached to, it came with a promotion through like Highliner Fish and Chips, like Highliner Fish. He's now passed away. He was the Maple Leaf goalie, and that is number 1, Johnny Bower. Johnny Bower passed away, I believe, last year, or yeah, it would have been, I think, last year. He wrote me a letter saying, "Thank you so much. I appreciate the card. Thank you so much." I told him how I got the card from my dad. And my grandpa passed it. And, another one that I've got that has a lot of special meaning to me. Red Kelly, Guy Carbonneau, Bobby Baun. I sent Bobby Baun, I believe I sent him 3 cards, and he signed all 3. I gave one to an old coworker, another one to a friend who was a Leaf fan as well, and then I kept one for myself. Another one that I got here, one of my favorite players growing up, Canadian kid. He had a troubled past with some stuff going on. If you read his book, and that is Darren Fleury, Theo Fleury, if you want to say Theo Fleury. So he signed 4 for me, and I wasn't expecting any of these back. I told him to keep the cards. I thought he would keep them for himself. So you got, sorry about the glare, but you got 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then the cool thing about being in the groups, like the Facebook groups, is you talk to these guys, and you're in the groups with them, and you talk to them, and you see what they have. Sometimes some of these guys have been collecting a lot longer than I have, or than other people have, and they have extra cards. And you trade. You know, like I had a couple extra cards that I had when I was a kid, and I sent them. The one guy needed it for a set, and he was looking at getting them sent out. He was in the States. Obviously, I couldn't send my cards to the U.S. because obviously I didn't have the right postage. So I just sent him the card, and he's like, "Oh, thank you so much. It's awesome. I need it for the set. I'm gonna get it signed." And he got it signed. He showed me the picture. It turned out really well. And he's like, "What would you like in return?" And the one card that I got back from him was. There's this one right here. I'm going to take it out of the package. Growing up in Guelph, I was a huge Guelph Storm fan. And back then, we had guys like Todd Bertuzzi play, Jeff O'Neill. Those were like the 2 like main guys, but there was a whole bunch of other guys who played. Jeff O'Neill went on to play for the Hartford Whalers, Carolina Hurricanes, and the Toronto Maple Leafs. He came to my school when I was a kid. He signed a whole bunch of cards for me. I lost the cards. So I had this card when I was younger, and I noticed that the guy who I sent my card to him to trade, or just so he could finish his set, he said, "Hey, I noticed you were looking for an O'Neill card," and he showed me this one. And I was like, "That's the one I had when I was a kid. That's the one that I lost, or it got misplaced, or I got somewhere, and I don't know where." He gave me that card. So you make relationships with some of these people. Everyone's all great. It's a fun community to be a part of. Like I said, I've been doing this hobby now for a long time. It's a bit tedious. You know, you have to put your work in. You have to write. A lot of the guys like written letters. I know cursive writing is a lost art now. They see generic typed out letters. They know the players aren't dumb. They know. They know if you're typing them out like on a computer and you're just printing mass letters, it's not really personal. Whereas you write a letter out by hand, they see that, they're like, hey, this guy or this kid or this person or woman or lady or whatever took the time to write me a letter. I'm going to take the time and return the card back. So I do hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you do enjoy taking up this hobby. It's a lot of fun. It's nice to get mail. You know, we're always getting junk mail and bills and all this crap mail in our mailboxes. It's nice to see something from one of your favorite hockey players, an idol. Not gonna lie, seeing the Felix Potvin cards, the one when they came in the mail, I literally like jumped up and down in my apartment because I literally thought that they were gone for forever. Like, I never thought I would have saw them again. Like, I mailed them, and I thought that was it. I was like, they're gone. They're out there. Who knows if they're ever gonna get signed? Like I said earlier in this video, some players, they have a good return. Some of them don't. Sometimes you take it's like risk. You take a chance at getting some of these guys. Some of the guys who haven't really played all that long, didn't make a big career. Some of the guys that did have a good career, and they just have stuff going on. So there's been a couple cards that I sent out to players and I never got a return back. A lot of like the big name superstar players, they tend to ask. They're a little bit more hard work because you could send a card to that person, and then the guy sends the card back because they're not signing. Most of the time they send you a little note saying add a donation, because a lot of players have charities, so they'll sign stuff only if you send a donation. So you need to do your research before you send your stuff, because obviously if you're sending like I've seen horror stories of some of these guys who send stuff out like really expensive, one of a kind pictures and artifacts, and then it just they don't get it back. Sometimes the players will send it back, like return to sender, RTS, so they get their stuff back. They find the proper address. Sometimes people have moved, so some people who now live in these residences, they send the mail back because obviously they don't want to keep a mail for somebody else. And I've had that happen before with myself, where I've sent stuff to players, and lucky enough the person sent the card back. Because I think it was like a Scott Niedermayer card. I sent it to an address that I found in British Columbia, and the card came back because he was no longer there. So, like I said, I know this has been a long video. I didn't really go into like show you guys how to like write the addresses down. Everybody should know how to write an envelope. It's like mailing a birthday card to whomever. If you want to share some of your success stories, definitely leave them in the comments below. I mean, I would love to hear it. If you want to do some trades, I have extra cards as well. I've been doing this now for a while, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you haven't already, if you want to subscribe to see some more of my videos. I don't really do a lot of these how-to videos. I've been just kind of messing around with stuff on my channel. More of the times I'm just a daily vlogger, but I also have playlists like retro gaming videos, what's inside videos where I show stuff like what's inside, like the electronics and all that. Some haul videos with my wife and some videos with the kids and stuff. So if you'd like to subscribe and take a look at what we have to offer on my channel, definitely do so. We have the merchandise for the channel. If you want to buy a shirt, we do have merchandise. We're making our own t-shirts right now. That's in the About section. Just scroll over to the About section. It's there. And P.O. Box fan mail is in there as well. Alright everybody, thank you so much for watching this video. I'm so sorry if it's a long video, but this is a cool hobby, and I want to make sure I get the right details on how to get some of these stuff. So I'll put the link for the one site, the sports, the one I'm on. My computer screen just shut off on me, and I'll put a couple other ones if I find them. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the hobby. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good weekend. Until next time, stay happy, be happy. Bye for now. Bye for now, everybody.